Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sandwich of Coherency. So, are you ready for it? Do you think that the United States is ready for it? Well, the Brookings Institute seems to think so. And this won't be a very long episode, but I want people to be aware of just little things. There's just little things that go on that people don't really know about. There's groups coming up with ideas and different ways to tell you what to do, how to think, and how you should live your life. Everybody talks about, the boogeyman, the Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. But pay a little attention to the Bilderbergs. Nobody paid attention to Davos and the World Economic Forum. The average person doesn't really have time to pay attention to that. That's not on their radar. The Club of Rome. Nobody really knows whom or what that is. That's not on the average person's radar. These are things that happen parallel to your daily life, and you have no idea. I mean, people say all the time, think about it, conspiracies and all this whatnot. People say all the time, that's impossible. How could everybody get together and plan this? Blah, blah, blah. But there's no way that all the leaders could get together, and there's no way that they could get together and coordinate and plan all this. Look, I've said this before, but it's weird because to this day, people still do not see it clearly. These groups, these meetings, the World Economic Forum, all of it. What do you think they're doing? Who do you think these people are? These are the richest people. When these people have these meetings, amongst them are trillions of dollars combined in their wealth. What do you think they're talking about? You think they're talking about giving up their wealth? No, they're talking about how to keep their wealth. When people who don't have wealth get together, what do? They don't talk about staying poor. They talk about wanting to get wealthy. And when you get wealthy, you talk about wanting to keep your wealth. And this is why, this idea of them trying to bring the United States down for whatever reason, destroying the small business, destroying the middle class, I think they have a plan with increased funding in the Job Corps. And this increased funding to get more Americans to come work for the federal government. We ask ourselves, what is the end goal? It could be control. Who knows? And I know it sounds a little crazy, like, oh no, come on, blah, 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 they wouldn't do that, da, 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 da. But, if you look at history, you realize that, yes, they do those things. They talk about those things. The CIA has released reports, files, tons of them recently, where they talk about those things. Same as the FBI. It's the same. They talk about how to control people. They have a plan. They want to rein people in. That's kind of what the government considers themselves now. They consider themselves your parents, and it's their duty to keep you in line. Think about it. The average citizen is treated like a child. One child makes a mistake, so all 300-something plus million of the rest of you, you have to be punished with him. That's the way they treat it. But again, like I said, this continued destruction of the small business. You have the fact the Small Business Administration does not want to give up the books. They don't want to open the books to Congress to see how they're spending and where the money's going, how many small businesses they've actually helped to fund. They don't want to give up that information, but in a brilliant piece from 2019 from the Brookings Institute, they did a 38-page, their study turned out to be 38 pages, but it's called The Future of the Middle Class Initiative. And Will America Embrace National Service? And basically just, the executive summary is, this paper examines the case for national service, highlights the various ways in which that service could unfold, and concludes that large-scale national service is needed in America now. America's civic health is in significant decline. The percentage of Americans who say others can be trusted fell from 46% in 1972 to just 31% in 2016, with 36% of whites and 17% of blacks expressing such trust. And in recent years, trust in the media, government, and the courts has fallen to historic lows. And it's really getting worse. It is no surprise that communities are fraying in places like Charlottesville, Ferguson, and Baltimore, and that America is not fulfilling its potential as political institutions suffer from partisan gridlock. The institutions that serve as checks on power and as guarantors of individuals' rights are increasingly under attack. And guess what? They're under attack from the left. Yes, this is a study of how will America benefit from national service, and how do we convince people to do it? Yeah. But don't think it's just going to be something like most countries. Maybe you serve 1 or 2 years. I just don't see it happening that way. With the way things are breaking down, I see it being almost like conscription. It's one of those things, once you're in, you're not going to get out. But again, I've mentioned this whole idea of this kind of scenario. But having this whole study by the Brookings Institute kind of puts it all into perspective. Yes, do some national service. Yes, they offer you perks to continue to stay home, all this other stuff. And it starts as something that seems innocent enough. But as the federal government, like many governments do, they tend to spread into the private industry, take over. And again, like everyone that came before them, those that are at the top stay at the top. And in order for those at the bottom to get to the top, they end up doing very terrible things. Very terrible things to other people. Because it's not free market. No. It's literally dog eat dog. These are things that happened in old Russia. These are things that happened in China, and they happen to this day still. Same as in North Korea. It happens around the world like that. And again, it seems innocent enough. It always seems innocent when authoritarian or totalitarian regimes implement such ideas. It's for the benefit of the country. It's to build the nation. Now, yes, there are countries around the world that do it. And yes, their leaders have very high aspirations. But those countries are not the United States. They do not wield as much power and control as the United States does. And the problem with American leaders is they really, really like power and they don't like to give it up. And in a situation like that, you would more than likely have to give up some rights. They will keep themselves in power. Your vote might become limited. Guarantees are not free. They come with something. I mean, the fact that they're openly saying they're willing to change the rules to have their way, the amendments are not absolute. Let's amend the requirements for those allowed to vote. I mean, it used to, yes, not just any white person could vote back in the day. Had to own land. Man, So again, this idea of national service. But here's the flip side to it. At the rate the nation's going, at the way things have been driven so far into the ground, the country is morally lost. It's completely morally defunct. This idea of using national service to build camaraderie amongst citizens from different backgrounds would actually be a good idea. That would be a very good idea. But it brings us back to the original point, is that the way that the leaders we have are now, the way that the government is, just the atmosphere of it, that would not be a good idea. At this time and place, this nation is not ready for that. And it's something that will be highly abused. And you will see citizens pay dearly for that. So as I do appreciate the fact that they made this study, it is something that as of right now, I just can't get behind it. Because as it goes on, one part of the summary does state that one powerful idea to rebuild our civic bridges is universal national service, an expectation and opportunity that young people, as they come of age, perform a year or more of military or civilian national service. Such service would bring young people from different backgrounds, income levels, races, ethnicities, and areas of the country together in shared experiences to solve public challenges as they form their attitudes and habits early in life. It sounds wonderful. It sounds amazing. But could you imagine letting those that are in charge right now be the ones to have control of that, to set that up? You really think that it would be bipartisan? You really think that it will be fair to the citizens? No, that will be destructive. It will end up putting citizens into a prison. Open air prison. Not that we aren't already in one. But an open air prison, a controlled fate inside of an open air prison. And just keep that open air prison in mind when you walk through your city, albeit maybe in New York, Los Angeles, and you scream that there's not enough room, we're overpopulated, we're overcrowded. Just remember that's more than likely just in your area. The world is really, 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 really big, and there's a lot of space. The problem is nobody wants to live in some of those spaces. It's going to take a lot of work to make those spaces livable. But the world is just not overcrowded. It's just that people like to live on top of each other. They like to feel this togetherness. But yes, to some degree, I feel that maybe people should get out more. But people do need to get out and meet each other and take the time to listen and talk to each other. Get to know each other. We're not all that different. We may have different beliefs and come from different backgrounds, but we can all find common ground to get along. There's more stuff that unites us than divides us. And we should all not want the idea of us coming together united being controlled by corrupt politicians. As people, we should be able to do this amongst ourselves. So let's keep that in mind as we go each day and see somebody we've never met. So every now and then take the time to say hello. Be wary. Don't just go running into any stranger, but still, go ahead and take the time to say hello. You never know. You might make a friend. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.